Okay, so you and I were just talking about how technology was grand, and you said that you were glad that you.
Lived when I did and saw some of the
Okay,
stuff.
so tell me about that.
Well, yeah, I lived when growing up. But I said, when I was a kid, Grandpa Gurman generated his own electricity. I don't remember electric lights, but Uncle Al was married in 42, and he went to the same farmhouse, but he didn't generate his electricity. We had the old outhouse. I can remember helping clean it out. We had the well as the refrigerator.
Okay, what do you mean well as a refrigerator?
The well, they had the well. The drinking water was out in the backyard, down the walk, and anything you wanted to keep cold, you stuck in a bucket and put it down in the well.
Huh.
To the butter and anything of that sort. Then all your cooking that was done either on the coal stove or coal or wood. It was a wooden stove, and or the kerosene stove. I know when I did the laundry on a scrub board, the water was heated on that kerosene stove. I did ironing white shirts with a flat iron that was heated on the wooden stove, and the wooden stove had a well to keep hot water in, and it's just totally wonderful. We were talking here when Robert was here about worms. I remember picking tobacco worms. 100 for a penny.
Where did you pick them?
Grandpa had a tobacco farm. He had tobacco as well as wheat and corn. And we used to go out and pick the tobacco worms off there. We did. We got a penny for 100 worms that we picked.
So you were like the pesticide.
Yes, because they didn't use pesticide at that time, And we were talking about the thrashing. And nothing like what you had today. All the farmers gathered. There was one thrasher. All the farmers would come to a specific house, and they'd spend a day or two, whatever was necessary, to thrash the wheat. I mentioned haystack. Robert had no idea what a haystack was. He knows the rolls and the barrels. Right. But they used to blow the shaft out and build a great big haystack. The little boy blew,
What year was that?
Oh, geez. Well, I was 40. I was down on the farm with Uncle Al 42 and 43. And of course, then it was before that with Grandpa. But 42, 43, all the wives would come and we'd fix the noon meal. Great big long tables of umpteen thousand foods. Then you would go to the next farm and help with the thrashing or cooking or what else.
Okay.
Well, as I said, there was one thrasher.
Right.
And so, you just did that, and, we go, as I said, no ice. Every most Sundays, we'd go make ice cream, so we'd hit the ice house. As a little kid, I remember making the ice cream, and they put a blanket over it, and we'd sit on the churn so that it wouldn't move around. Of course, it didn't do that when we were older, but... if you can imagine doing bib overalls and sheets with the scrub board and wringing them out by hand, diapers, okay, you washed them and everything, and then you hung them out or laid them out on bushes for the sun to bleach them out, and just gather the cows in.
So you said Grandpa, is that
Grandpa, or your Gross Pop Gurman?
Gross Pop Gurman.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, okay, was that your grandpa?
No,
or
it was Gross Pop Gurman. I remember putting hay up in the hayloft when I was littler. I used to get to ride the workhorse and do it. Of course, somebody let it. Then when I was down there in 43 and 44, then I'd lead the horse. And they had the big fork. And Grandpa, or anybody who's there, they'd take this big fork and put it over the hay, and then they'd stand on it and make sure that it was locked and everything so it could lift it up. And it was like a T-bar and then a cross, Well, this one time, Grandpa didn't get off. And hollering at me, thrill. Wow! The horses, of course, the horses knew what they were doing, but it was a thrill. But when I was in 42 or 43, 44, one of the two, darn horse, and these work horses are not little. Stepped on my foot.
Ow.
Yes. And they were down there where they put the thing in. There was a little creek, not much, but we used to go down there and catch frogs and have frog legs up there and everything. And, it was fun. I can remember we went to church and I had put a chicken in and we invited my cousins down the road. So, I was going to make gravy. How in the heck are you going to make gravy? You can't make gravy. Well, my mother taught me how to make the gravy like that. So.
And how did you make the gravy?
Just regular gravy, with whatever was the juice and water, flour, milk, however.
And you did that on the stove, on
the wood
burning
oven.
Uh-huh.
And everything was done that way. And we had a cistern in the house, but of course you can't drink cistern. And I know I have said this before. The house on Dogleg, what you used as a living room, I know had to be the kitchen because it had the same type cupboard that there was down on the farm in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
The very same type cupboard.
Because it was very much like a pantry, sort of.
Yes. It was the
cabinet.
The top and the bottom. I know. It was the very same thing. But their kitchen was really big, had great big long table. Of course, when you got a big family, I almost choked to death when I was a kid down there. I got a piece of meat caught in my throat. Couldn't tell anybody what was going on.
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you started this by saying that somebody used a generator?
Grandpa had a generator down in the cellar.
Okay.
And he generated his
Was it just a
electricity.
gasoline generator?
I was too little to know. I just know that he did. But he must have had lights in if he did, there. Yeah. But that. And he had they had, it was like a porch. It was covered, but I call it the wash house because it was over on the side there. And that's where he did the laundry, and it's just everything else. I had a great time. Of course, I know I told you that one time I had water on the kerosene stove. Then these great big lard cans, 5-gallon lard cans or whatever they were, big things, deep, and I was going to be interrupted, so I went to take it off. And I went to lift, got little metal handles on the side, and I went to lift it off, and I burned the you-know-what out of my hand.
Ow.
I would have been well ahead of today treatment. Uncle Al may put butter on it. I wanted to put it in cold water, and Uncle Al would not let me. Butter. It hurt so bad. I ran around the house with my hands out to get the air on them.
Oh.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt. Really did.
Ow.
Yeah, and I think I've told you they have they don't call them living rooms. It wasn't the parlor, not the formal parlor, because that was across the hall, but where everybody stayed, gathered, and everything. And when Uncle Al moved back in, it was rented out after Grossmom and Grosspop went to the city. And Uncle Al came in, and there was tin on the walls, halfway up the walls. Couldn't figure out why the tin.
Hold on, just a second. Hold on.